Welcome in to the 48 Minutes podcast on Believe. I'm Ross Geiger, the former NBA video coordinator, and I'm joined alongside Bruce Bernstein, our four-time Emmy Award winner, who spent more than 3 decades at ESPN producing NBA shows, SportsCenter, and soaking up knowledge from the best two panelists in the business. Also joining us is the 2-time Emmy Award winner, Michael World B. Freer, who's a senior writer at Stat Factor, specializing in writing advanced statistical NBA reports for various announcers across the league. This is episode number 183, the Craig Smith episode, as the big man out of Boston College once wore number 83 as a member of the Portland Trail Blazers. With regular season action set to begin on October 21st, we continue our series of two-a-day shows. They'll be shorter, and we'll release 3 new shows each week leading up to opening night. Each show will feature one team from the East and one team from the West. Please note, we'll be going in alphabetical order, so no need to read into anything. So with that said, let's keep it rolling with World B's New York Knicks from the East, and then review the Phoenix Suns out West. So World B, your New York Knicks finished last season as a top 3 team in the East with a 51-31 record overall and made it to the Eastern Conference Finals, but fell to the Pacers in 6 games. Despite the very successful year, the Knicks switched up the voice in the locker room, parting ways with longtime head coach Tom Thibodeau, and ended up hiring Mike Brown as their new head coach. The team also extended Mikal Bridges for 4 years and lost only Precious Achiuwa to the Miami Heat in free agency, while also adding veterans Gershon Yabusele, Jordan Clarkson, and Malcolm Brogdon. So with all that said, World B, is it make the finals or bust time at the Garden?
I would think so, given the state of the Eastern Conference. There's really no excuses at this point other than, say, Cleveland, and we've discussed them before. Mm-hmm. There's no team that is more loaded, ready to go in the East than the New York Knicks. I think, their lineup is as good as it gets in the Eastern Conference. I mean, you can make the argument they have the best starting lineup in at least the East. They played more minutes, that lineup of Brunson, OG Anunoby, Karl-Anthony Towns, Bridges, Josh Hart, than any team in any other lineup in the league by about 200 minutes. So the biggest thing they wanted to do in the offseason was add depth. You mentioned the guys they're bringing in to help their the bench. So I would think you won't see this lineup dominate on the court as much as in terms of time spent on the court. But everything's shaping up for them. They have all the tools you want. So, yeah, I think it's the new coach. It's going to take some time. He's a different coach than Tibbs. And I think what you're going to see, me personally, you're going to see much more ball movement. And that's going to be a big change for this team that loves to go ISO with Karl-Anthony Towns, with Jalen Brunson. Now the ball's got to move around a little bit. Now the players move around a little bit. Coach Brown comes from, before he got to Sacramento, he was an assistant at Golden State. He saw the benefit of moving the ball around. So I think that's what you're going to see, and that's going to be the real key. Can they adjust to that new style? I think they can, and I think they're going to make it out of the East.
Now, Bruce, more ball movement, more player movement. I don't think the player movement stops just out on the 5 guys on the floor. I think player movement when it comes to Mike Brown is adding to that rotation, right?
Well, yeah, definitely. And I think that was one of the main reasons that they moved on from Tom Thibodeau, because, Thibs was going to go with his 7 guys, and now, adding Brogdon, who, Brogdon is such a curious case to me because every team he's played on, he has a great reputation. He is a, kind of a clubhouse leader, solid player. Injuries have always kind of been his undoing. But again, now that he's, going to probably be, coming in off the bench, obviously, that should be good for him. And it should be good for everyone with this depth, with Brogdon and Clarkson and Yabusele, because Coach Brown's going to use these guys, right? And as World B mentioned in his first, comment here, those starters were playing so many minutes. I mean, at the end of the Indiana series, Josh Hart looked like he was absolutely gassed. And this was a guy with boundless energy, but even he got worn out by all that, the pace and all the minutes. But their core 5 or 6 guys, are back, okay? And they've added this depth. They didn't lose anybody that mattered. So, yeah. And even, it's funny. I was reading a story. I didn't realize that OG Anunoby and Mike Brown have a previous relationship because Brown coached the Nigerian Olympic team at the Tokyo Olympics, and OG was on that team. So those guys kind of start out with a relationship. So I think I agree with World B. I mean, the top three teams in the East to me are Cleveland, New York, Orlando. The Knicks have to at least get to the conference finals, and I think they will, okay? But a trip to the finals, that's their goal. I mean, winning it all, if they could, great. But they'll only have what I think the New York fans will consider a successful season if they make it to the finals.
Yeah, I'm right there with you guys. It might be a little unfair to Mike Brown, who's just coming in to this situation and having such a lofty goal right from Jump Street. But hey, Mike Brown said recently in an interview, he knows what he signed up for. He understands the pressure that comes with taking the New York Knicks job, and he's looking forward to the challenge. And I think we both know with Mike Brown, a friend of the show, that he loves stuff like this. He's looking forward to this type of challenge, and I think he's going to be a great player communicator with the entire roster. As you said, Bruce, I mean, it's not just going to be, closely trusting 7 guys. I think this is a guy that's going to trust his bench as well, and why they've gone out to give, Malcolm Brogdon, Garrison Matthews, Alex Len, a recent signing who was with Sacramento last year with Mike Brown. Those guys have non-guaranteed roster spots, and they're coming to New York because they know what a special opportunity this could be to be a part of a championship-worthy Knicks team potentially, and to also, maybe even more importantly, play with Mike Brown, because they know Mike Brown likes to, expand his rotation. And I think that speaks volumes to the coach that Mike Brown is. And this is certainly not a situation I don't think you see either of those veterans I just named sign up for if Tom Thibodeau is still the coach. So just the roster flexibility, creativity that Mike Brown brings, I think the sky's the limit for this group.
And by the way, I totally agree with what you guys are saying about the roster and the additions, because people got to realize when you get to the point of the season that teams like the Pacers did, or the Thunder and the Knicks and teams like that, or the Timberwolves, you're talking about 100 games when it's all done between regular season and postseason. You're talking 100 minimum. So you need as many quality players. You just don't need bodies. You need quality players to go out there and be able to give you 15 to 20 minutes. If you can find 9 guys that can do that, and you can be a success. I think the Knicks were stuck on 7 or 8 for by the time they got to the end of the season. And by the way, you mentioned OG. The Knicks got a pretty good season out of him in terms of health-wise, but his track record is not exactly suggests that is a long-term thing. So, the more players you have to make up for what could be, guys getting banged up or whatever, the better for this team.
Yep. Bottom line, the Knicks will never have a better opportunity than they're going to have this year. With Miles Turner and Tyrese Halliburton out of the picture for Indiana, with Jason Tatum and Porzingis and Drew Holiday out of the picture for Boston, it's just sitting right there for them. They just got to take it.
Yeah, well said there. All right, moving on to the Phoenix Suns out west. Last year, the Suns finished 11th in the Western Conference, and this was a team that consisted of Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, and Brad Beal, which ultimately they missed out on even the play-in tournament entirely, with a 36-46 record overall. So, Bruce, are your expectations for this team without KD and Brad Beal any brighter for the Suns this season than how last season ended?
Well, the big 3 has turned into the big 1, as Devin Booker is the only survivor. Head coach Mike Budenholzer also fired after just 1 season. And his replacement is Jordan Ott, okay? He'll be a rookie head coach with this team, all right, after being a video coordinator like Ross Geiger at the beginning of his career, and then an assistant for 9 years with the Nets, the Lakers, and Cleveland. Totally unknown quantity as far as I'm concerned. I think they're going to have a major, major problem getting to 36 wins this year. I don't see it at all. I think 26 is closer to where they're likely to be.
All right. World B?
Well, let's see. They had Kevin Durant on their roster last season. They were 3-17 when he wasn't on the court. and now he's not on their team anymore. So I don't know where this team, to Bruce's point, I don't know where they find 36 wins. How Jalen Green and Devin Booker are going to play together is, if you're watching the Suns, that's what you're watching for. Let me see how well these guys can play together. I don't think it's going to be – it seems like a train wreck on paper. I don't think it's going to be that bad because I think Devin Booker he's one of my favorite players in the league because I think he can be a playmaker. It's not his forte, but I think he can do – he's going to have to now, in this lineup. But I think he can handle the rock. When he was in the starting point guard role when there were injuries a couple years ago, he's about 5, 6, 7 assists a game. He can do it. It's not the thing he wants to do. He's coming off a bad shooting season from the perimeter, so he's got to get that fixed up. You mentioned, we can talk about their starting lineup, whatever it projects out to be, but boy, you look at that bench. That's where, and it could be the weakest in the league.
Yeah.
And we know the teams that are in this league. That's saying something when you have, Colin Gillespie, Grayson Allen, who's quality, but Royce O'Neal, you got the rookie out of Duke, Maluch, Nigel Hayes. I mean, these are guys that could see some significant time on this team. That really doesn't strike the fear into opponents. I really don't think so. This 36 wins would be if Coach Ott can get that, he's approaching Coach of the Year talk.
Yeah.
I hope Jordan Ott is good at developing centers because he has 3 young 7-footers. Mark Williams, who averaged 15 and 10 last year, he flunked the physical, should have been on the Lakers, is not. So instead of, languishing in Charlotte, now he'll be languishing in Phoenix. Nick Richards and 7'2" rookie, you mentioned Malua out of Duke. So if he gets some, if he's able to develop those guys a little bit, there's some potential there. You mentioned, team is thin. It's really thin. They need more talent. So, and the West is just brutal. So only New Orleans and Utah look to be worse than the Suns out West, in my humble opinion.
Yeah. Well, just a quick reminder here. In May of 2024, Suns owner Matt Ishbia confidently stated, asked the other 29 GMs and 26 of them would trade their whole team for our team and our draft picks and everything as is. The house is not on fire. We're in a great position. Now let's flash forward to Suns Media Day just a few days ago when Ishbia said his expectation for the upcoming season was to build a, quote, team that we're proud of, a team that plays hard, a team that competes, and a team that's getting better and is fun to watch. And for the first time in Ishbia's tenure as team owner, I got to say I couldn't agree more with those team attributes being the upside for this Suns roster next year and current situation for the organization with both Katie and Beal gone and a first-time head coach in Jordan Ott taking over. So the only bad news for Suns fans is being proud of a team that's playing hard and getting better definitely doesn't fit the description as a playoff team, especially in the Western Conference.
Matt Ishbia used to talk about the Suns as being like his really hot girlfriend. Now he's talking about the Suns as having a really nice personality.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But hey, at this point, I mean, living in Phoenix and having friends that are season ticket holders, or should I say were season ticket holders, I think that's half the battle is the local fans here want a team to really give a shit. I excuse my language here, but like last year,
I like when you swear, Russ. That's good.
They didn't see the fire from the team, and obviously it was a huge letdown. So I think it's going to be a refreshing change to get a first-year head coach that has something to prove and a bunch of young players that want to prove something too here in Phoenix. And as World B pointed out, I think it could be a lot of fun. They could be a fun League Pass watch for late-night viewers on the East Coast next year, because I think a lot of games could get interesting. And one thing I do know about Devin Booker is if a game is close, in crunch time, he can take over and he'll nail the big shots. He is not afraid of the moment. So if they can keep it close, it could be interesting.
Well, I'll tell you this too: if they're going to improve, if they're going to get better, they have to change their style. They got a new coach. They got kind of a new roster. Last season, they were bottom 10 in possession per 48 minutes, just about a little over 98 a game, and only 15% of their possessions were in transition. So if you want to see a change, if you want to excite some fans, you got to get up and down the court a little bit more. Now, a lot of that transition is based a lot of times in the case of, say, the Thunder. You create your own transition opportunities by turning the ball over and going the other way. We'll see if the Suns can do that on defense. But other than that, you want to see them get a little more up tempo, a little more pace, pace to their game. And then with a young team, maybe this is one of the areas you'll see improvement.
Yeah, and good thing for the Suns if they want to kind of speed up their pace heading into the season. Steve Nash has been at training camp thus far here in Phoenix, helping Coach Jordan out. So you have the conductor of the 7 seconds or less Suns in your building. Maybe that's one of the things they're trying to work on here in the preseason. So stay tuned for that. But on our next 48 minutes to a day, we'll examine World B's Orlando Magic and the Portland Trail Blazers. We hope you'll join us as we'll keep you up to date, but go shorter than 48 as we hit every team. Take care, everyone.